Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Paige, this is Seeking Alexandria, and y'all, it's time for a foundation review, and I'm excited about this one for a totally different reason than normal. It's a little bit off the beaten trail. I feel like this one didn't get a ton of press, a ton of PR, because it does release more exclusively to the Beautylish website, which if you're not familiar, they're just basically an online retailer for cosmetics. However, I think that they are so special and genuine. Their customer service is amazing. Their shipping is better than any shipping I've ever seen from Sephora or Ulta. And as a person in Northern Michigan that often receives packages and items that are just broken and crumbled all to bits, it's so nice to deal with a company that puts so much thought into how they deliver the product. So anyways, that's my plug for Beautylish. Let's go ahead and dive into this foundation. Now, the brand VDL did recently, or semi-recently, launch it's called a Luma Layer Primer. And I guess Wayne Goss has talked about this time and time again. He did a video on it. I did pick it up. I'm not using it in this video because I have not used it yet. And I don't like to first impression a primer and a foundation at the same time, so I will be testing that out. If you're curious, I picked that up. But for today, like I said, we're going to be looking at their new foundation, which everything I can see does point to this being a new launch on the Beautylish website, and we're just going to read a little bit about it on their website here. It says under product description, create a flawless, even complexion that lasts through sweat, oil, heat, and humidity with perfect lasting foundation from VDL. The weightless, breathable formula allows for buildable coverage with a velvety, irresistibly smooth finish. This is medium buildable coverage with a velvet matte finish. It is liquid, and it looks like it was released in 12 shades. That's the deepest shade out of the 12 shades. So that was the shade A07, and that is described as cool, rich brown with a matte finish. And I think it's safe to say that the shade range for this is not good. How are the pasty shades? What do they look like? Which shade do I have? What did I pick up? Hello? I have the shade A02, which appears to be the lightest, and it is described as cool, light beige with a matte finish. So let's see what my color is, because I haven't looked yet. Okay, it's not bad. I don't think. It's definitely not as light as it should be. I'm going to go right ahead and just say I have a feeling this whole shade range selection they have here will fit you better if you have medium skin tone. Not too light, not too deep. Just be right in the middle and you might be able to use it. Okay. Oh no! Skip the primer. Perfect lasting foundation locks into place with a velvet matte finish that won't smudge, fade, melt, or crease. And guess who primed her face? What else does it say? Does it say that I need to apply it with a gold spoon or something? It says resist oxidization. The proprietary Luma Layer pigment prevents the formulation from oxidizing, ensuring fresh, natural coverage that looks just applied for hours. Breathable and moisture balancing. The weightless formula uses bio-moisture film technology to restore the skin's natural oil and moisture balance for skin that feels as good as it looks. That's exactly what I'm going to do, by the way. I'm just going to wipe off my primer. VDL, you better not have been lying. If I wipe all this off and you look like butt shit all day, I'm gonna be so mad about it. Okay, well, there's something I never thought I would say. I have my primer good and wiped off, and before I go in, I am gonna take just 2 squirts of my Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. And that's something I always do now before foundation, whether it's my Catrice or that spray. I just like to go in with one or the other just to give me a little bit of moisture back to the skin before I go in with foundation. I find that it helps the foundation look quite lovely. So I am ready. I am de-primed. And one more thing I did forget to mention on this was the price. This is $32 and it is 1.01 fluid ounces. So it's about a standard size. And as far as packaging goes, you do get a pump, a beautiful glass bottle, which I love. It looks nice, frosted, clean, sophisticated. I live. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to grab a couple pumps here on the back of my hand. Definitely liquidy. Okay. I'm going to take this on my Real Technique sponge and we are going to start applying. Oh, wait a second. That has a clean smell. Like, it's not overpowering at all. The scent is very light. Oh, okay. This looks pretty. That coverage is beautiful. One pass. Okay. Okay, calm down. I'm not mad at it. I'm really curious to see how it's going to do over these ones, because these are real red. Ooh. Okay, all right, VDL. I see you. I love that clean smell. Oh my gosh. You know that smell if you were to walk into like a freshly cleaned like bathroom or a kitchen, how it would smell like you just cleaned the countertops or something? It's like that, but not like chemically. Like it's just clean. I don't know how to describe it other than that, but it smells real nice. Just gonna add a little bit over this acne. So I moved you guys in. I feel like obviously the color is a little bit off. The way it's sitting on the skin, like on the pores right up through here, the face, all of that looks stunning. The coverage is interesting because I feel like when I first laid it down, the coverage was like, wow, intense, but it's almost like the foundation kind of sunk into my skin and now there's less coverage than there was before. Do you see? I don't know if that makes sense, but you guys saw when I first applied it how like intense the coverage was. Where did it go? Like it kind of went away. And that could be just that it really does sink into the skin. I'm going to take a little bit, like maybe one pump, one tiny little poop here. And I just want to see if this does build up any coverage or not. And we're going to keep it over here because this is where I have a ton of redness. And just see. Do you see that that's a different color? It was oxidizing. I knew it, you liars. I knew that it was oxidizing. You can tell because that little patch I just applied was a different color. I knew it. And I don't think that that coverage is building. So I'm gonna say this is just medium. It's a decent coverage when you first put it on, but again, something happens there. Let's hit the ear because we're gonna be all kinds of different colors. Yeah, that was oxidizing. Hold on, I wanna do it on this side. So I'm gonna take just whatever I had left on my hand here. See the difference? It was oxidizing. I thought I was nuts because they told me it wouldn't oxidize and I believed them. That was my fault. I'm gonna grab my Tarte Shape Tape here in Porcelain Beige if I can get any out of the container because y'all, I've used most of it, I'm not gonna lie. Now what I'm loving about this is actually when you apply it, it has a really luminous look on the skin, but just like their website said, it has kind of a velvet matte finish, and as it's dried down onto the skin, it has become much more matte looking. It's not overbearing, it's not too matte, but it definitely settled way down from what it looked like as a luminous foundation when I put it on. So this is looking stunning. Okay, I'm going to grab my Maybelline Fit Me. Whenever I do a review, I typically go back to this more often than not because I know how she looks. So now we're just going to pat out the under eyes here. Got to get rid of those creases. And we're going to pat in that Maybelline Fit Me 05 Fair Loose Powder right onto that under eye. Because, girl, we have to set that concealer. And I'm doing this with the Sigma Precision Round P82 brush, by the way. If you were wondering, girl, what is that nice little under eye brush you're using? That's that. And then we also have to pat out the Hulk because that wrinkle, oh boy, he is angry today, sir. And then to lightly set the rest of the face, I'm going to grab my large jumbo powder brush from IT Cosmetics. I'm going to tap off all the excess powder and then I'm going to fling it all over my pants. And I'm going to very, very lightly set my face. Again, as of late, I have been more on the normal skin side. So my oils have been at bay very well, which is a good thing. However, it means I can't set my face very much. Otherwise, your girl looks real cakey real fast. Well, that looks gorgeous. So here's what I'm thinking so far. Other than obviously I have to go do the rest of my face and all that. But as of this moment, it looks really nice. It is set down with powder, so it looks a little powdery. That's not abnormal for me. Until I go in and set everything down, I'm not able to see like that true finish as to what it looks like. But as of right now, everything's set down beautifully. The coverage is a little bit underwhelming for me, especially for how beautiful it looked at first. Like you can see even through my powder, you can see my acne. So if you do have more acne or more hyperpigmentation or anything like that, you may want to consider setting this with a foundation powder as opposed to a setting powder, just because you might need a little extra coverage there. So that would be my only recommendation on that. Now, if you have normal to dry or dry skin and you don't like to set your foundation, I would say this is one you might not have to depending on how dry you are, because this did do a beautiful job of settling down and becoming velvety matte nice and quick, which is good. My biggest concern would be when it's a velvet matte, does it stay at that same consistency or would it get too dewy throughout the day? So you may or may not have to set this one. I set it very lightly and it went down immediately, but I think that's all I have to say on that. So I'm gonna go, this feels really nice and smooth with that powder on top of it, like nice and settled. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, do the rest of my face, and I will stop back on and we're gonna look at the whole deal up close after it's had a chance to sink in and meld with all my other stuff. So hang tight and I will be right back. Okay, you guys, I went ahead, I finished up the rest of my face, and I'm gonna be honest, this foundation is actually looking quite beautiful. Now, I will say that through here on both sides, I do have a little bit more texture than I would typically like. I think that's a mixture of a couple things. One, I put on a freckle too much highlight, number one, but like I'm glowy, so is it really too much? maybe not. Because before that, I had a really nice, like, soft focused look through this whole area. Everything just looked so blurred. My pores were very minimized and everything was settled beautifully. And it wasn't just in this area too, it was my entire face. And now after going through and doing my highlight and my setting spray, I do feel, again, a little bit emphasized in this area, but it's not that bad. And if anything, I think the camera is actually exaggerating it just a freckle. So as far as what it looks like in real life, I think it looks quite beautiful, very nice and smooth. And there is more smoothness to be expected as the day wears, because like I've told you guys before, or if you're new to my reviews, this is not the good time for my foundation. The good time for my foundation is in like 2 to 3 hours when everything has just like melded together. The heat from my skin, the oils in my skin, the atmosphere, everything just like comes together and really presses the foundation in. And it's typically, if it's gonna look good, it's in like 2 to 3 hours after I put it on. And that is just something that I've come to know and love and accept about my skin. So some people have beautiful skin right from the beginning. That is not me, child. It takes a minute. So I'm okay waiting. Now, as far as all the other products on my face, I will run through with those. I have the Buxom Wanderlust in Dolly on my cheeks. I did a full video on all of these that were released. I can link it up here. They are beautiful. And then I also have the shade Twig from MAC on my lips. I also have the Sculpt and Go palette from Charlotte Tilbury. I've been using this a ton. This is what is my bronzer. My highlight is, just take a wild guess. You just take a guess. I'll let you. Did you say the Backstage Glow palette from Dior? Because this is what I used. I'm highlighted with some combination of these 3 highlights, and then this pink one right here is what is the shiny on my lid. And then the other shadows on my lid are actually from this Milani palette. This is the Most Loved Mattes. I've been playing around with this a little bit, so I have this orange shade, this purple shade, and this purple shade blended out with this super bright bone shade right here. It wasn't anything too crazy, too exciting, but I did want to have something a little bit different on my lids, because as you guys have just seen in my most recent quick makeup video that I did, which I can link up here, I have been only doing like bronzer in the crease lately, and that has been it. And I was like, girl, we gotta punch it up just a little bit every once in a while. So I went in with this. I think it's beautiful. One of my favorite color combinations is orange and purple together on the eyes. I think it is so sexy and sultry. Oh, and then also on my brows, I am wearing the Colourpop Bang & Brunette brow pencil, you know, like the only one I apparently own. And I think that that's everything. I really didn't go in with too many crazy products today. It was just a lot of color and purple on my lids, which is great. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead, do my day. I will stop back on after the day is done and we will see how everything wore. As of right now, it's giving me a really nice kind of velvet matte finish, which is exactly what it said. It's not too matte, it's not crunchy matte, it's not gathering on my texture as of yet, so that's a big win for me. So let's go ahead and do the day and I will be right back. Okay, you guys, it is officially the end of the day. I've been wearing this makeup for over 10 hours, and girl, I have some thoughts. So the first thing I'm gonna say is that overall, the wearability is amazing. This did not break down. It didn't start to chunk up, slough off. It didn't rub off my face in any way weird. Like, I'm very impressed with overall the way that it sat on my skin and even sat on my more oily areas throughout the day. Now, with that being said, I will also tell you, as you can painfully see, my nose, girl, she is oily. It is a very shiny situation all up on that T-zone. However, to the impressive side of that, you can see how oily it might be, but that it did not break up or slough off my nose, which a lot of times when my skin starts to get this oily throughout the day, a lot of times it will actually physically lift the foundation off and move it away, and it didn't. It just got very oily, but there was no movement of foundation, which leads me to believe this would actually work as a great foundation to touch up if you are so inclined to do so. If you would like to get rid of that shine, this would touch up very nicely because it doesn't move and slough off, so when you go to pat off your nose, it's not going to come off, which is great. The other areas, planes of my face, again, as you guys saw, they stayed completely intact. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you, super impressed by the fact that there is nothing weird on my upper lip. It doesn't even look like creasy or cakey, which is super common. Even when I wear my favorite foundations, I get creasiness or cakiness on my upper lip. Nothing there. My smile lines right here, little to no movement in my smile lines. Little to no movement here in between my brows. Even the Hulk looks very good. So overall, as far as wrinkles and fine lines, 2 thumbs way up there. Now, the only thing that kind of had me down the whole day was the fact that my texture through here was just never to a point where I was like, damn, she looks smooth. Like there was never that wow moment for me. The texture stayed at like a mediocre level at best all day long. However, I also always mention at the end of my foundation reviews, how would I fix this? How would I wear it differently? What would I do to correct these issues? So I think to that end, the first thing I would add is a primer. Now in the description, as we already read, it did say that this is a primer infused foundation. You don't need one. I don't disagree because typically the point of a primer is to help the foundation last longer and look nicer throughout the day. And this definitely did that. It looked really beautiful on the skin. It wore very well. The longevity was definitely there. So I can see their side of it, but because I do have such textured skin through here, I would probably want a little touch of silk canvas through there, just something to give it a little bit more smoothness. So that's the first thing I would add. The other thing I will say is that throughout the day, I had a very powdery look to the skin in this area because it did look very matte for the first few hours. So I think that if you have normal to dry skin, probably avoid setting if at all possible because it did look a little powdery on me, and that's with normal to oily skin. So for me, in addition to that touch of silk canvas, I would probably want to go in with some sort of a luminous spray to prep my skin, which I did this morning with my Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. So I would probably do that as well. Maybe set the foundation a little less or set it with something that's a little bit less dense, which that Maybelline Fit Me is not by any stretch of the imagination a dense powder. However, maybe going in with even less of it if at all possible and playing around with that. Now those are just a couple things I would do before going in with the foundation, but the product itself I would probably want to mix with a different foundation. These are my two picks. I think the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear would be a great option, as would the Dior Forever Full Coverage Foundation. Now as far as why I would add them, they both have great coverage. They both have a beautiful way that they sit on my skin, and the NARS one has a nice radiant finish, whereas the Dior one has a more mattified finish. So I would want to play around with mixing both because I want to see how this foundation, which was supposed to have more of a velvet matte feel, got me kind of oily, which would need more mattification, but because during the day it looked a little too matte, I think the Natural Radiant could have a good purpose. So I think there'd be a good balance here between the two. I would probably start off with the NARS first. Plus I think the color for the NARS would be a much better match than the Dior Forever Undercover. So I guess if I had to sum it up, that would be everything. Overall though, this is a great wearing foundation. I'm very impressed, definitely more so with the long wearingness than I am with any other aspect. Like the wearability, for me to not have a totally broken mustache area right here, crazy. And the last thing I wanted to mention, and I almost forgot, is the way this looked on camera was absolutely stunning. I was taking little voice memos, I was on Instagram, I was on here, I took a selfie. Like this wore so beautifully as far as on camera appearance. I was very impressed. I think they called it in the description a velvet matte, and the way that it kind of blurred the pores, it really did transcend to camera and it looked stunning. And with that, you guys, I do believe that is it for this video. Now be sure to let me know down below, what do you think of this foundation? How do you think it wore? Is it something you would consider? Are you kind of like, you know, it's a little mediocre for me? Like, what about it, if anything, really stands out to you that you love, that you didn't like? And also I want to know, what do you think of Beautylish? Who has tried it? Who has not? Because I feel like they are just such an up and comer in the beauty world as far as retail and customer service goes. Like, I want to know all of your thoughts down below. And if you haven't checked them out, even if you don't need to buy anything, go to their website and just scroll around and look at the brands and look at what they have, because I guarantee you, you're going to be like, wow, never heard of that one. It happens to me all the time. I'll just get on there sometimes and I'll just look and I'm like, damn, like all these brands I've never seen, products I've never touched, like I must see them. So let me know down below. I want to know all of your thoughts. And also, while you're down there, guys, don't forget, I always love hearing from you if there is a launch that you want to see, or products that are being released, or something new that is coming out in general that you're like, girl, I need to know the tea. Get me that scoop. Let me know. Leave that down there, because I always do go for your guys' recommendations and thoughts and what you're looking for. I always consult that first. And also, if you're like, girl, seeing you on the U of Tube, it is not enough. I want to see you outside of here. Don't forget that down in the description box of every video, I have my Instagram and my Twitter linked, and they are a good, fun, fresh lit time. I'm not gonna lie, I am on Instagram all the time. I do videos, I post pictures, and it's not just like a beauty picture place where it's like, oh, Paige is looking fabulous 24/7. Oh no, we're talking my dogs, my cats, me. I'm in a robe half the time, and it's just me being a hot mess. mess. And that's what I love. I love Instagram for that purpose. And if you have not also subscribed to my YouTube channel and turned on your notifications, you can do that as well, because y'all, this family over here is growing so fast, and I am so happy and so grateful for you guys. It's just so awesome. Every time I get on my YouTube lately, I feel like my channel's going up and I'm getting more and more feedback from you guys and what you love, what you don't love, and I just feel like it's evolving. And spoiler alert for those of you that made it to this point in the video, I'm really excited because pretty soon my filming setup is actually going to change. I am working on converting a room and really giving you guys a good, awesome reveal on that end. So definitely subscribe if you're excited for that, because girl, I am. I would subscribe if I could. I'm so excited. So thank you all so much for watching. Again, please do not forget to have a great day, night, weekend, whatever it is when you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. So okay. Okay. Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club. The best. Instagram ready. Paige, were you kidding? The only thing you're ready for is a nap and some Netflix. Okay? Don't get it twisted, girlfriend. No. Because y'all, I'm excited. What was that noise? Jesus? Breathable. And I'm using the Sigma Precision Round P8. Hello? Ghost Paige. Hello? Baby, come, baby, baby, come. I wish I was in Dixie. Hooray, hooray. In Dixieland, I'd take my stand to live and die in Dixie. Away, away, away down south in Dixie. Away, away. God, I'm basically a professional. Everybody better calm down.